Hey, how are you, Ben? How's it going? Thank you so much for being here in
Good.
Mexico.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Um, I'm excited because I was listening yesterday to Teardrop, and it sounds even more deeper and more hypnotic than your first album, Mood.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's hard to know how everyone perceives it, but it's good to hear that you see something different and positive in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what can we expect on your upcoming tour on 2025, which began on February in Washington, D.C.
You mean in the tour?
Yeah, what can we expect on your upcoming tour on the next year?
Honestly, I haven't got into the tour yet because I'm finishing the album right now. So I'm like in the last days of the album,
Okay.
and then over December and January, I'll start working on the tour. But yeah, we always try to do like a really interesting live show and visuals.
Yeah.
Um, So we'll have that, and um, yeah, it's just me on stage. So I'll be playing all this, probably a lot of the new stuff that I have, and the whole old album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Teardrop, it gives me a kind of perspective that you're going deeper in the house, but in electronic. I don't know what can you describe about this song and this composition.
Um. Well, yeah, I think with this new album, everything is quite different to each other. So there is a little bit more dance music for sure. Um. But like the kind of dance music really I had on the last album too. So I always just have a bit of that, and then yeah, I went a lot more into like break beats and garagey kind of rhythms because I felt like if there's any time to explore that, it's now in terms of where music is at in the underground and whatnot. So it's just like um, yeah, I really wanted to try like how many different rhythms and beats you can make within this kind of structure and stuff. So and then I really like went back to kind of my youth a little bit and took like a lot of influence from the early 2000s, like lots of besides the breakbeats and all that, like lots of airy synths and R&B vocal samples and stuff. So it's been like more of a concept for me of collaging all these different elements from another era.
Yeah, at the beginning of this conversation, I told you that Mood, it's an album that I really loved. It was released in 2020, and that album is more danceable, more happier. And now you will release, you are finishing your next album. But 4 years, it's like a huge gap of evolution.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
exactly.
I'm curious. How
Because
was your evolution? Uh huh.
if you think about it, I did do a whole EP of singles in between.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little bit of garagey stuff on there. There was a whole lot of different moods, and like quite a few of those songs did well too. So I think like songs like Devotion and No Skin have definitely influenced like people's perception of what the music is. And then yeah, like you said, 4 years is so long, really. Like
Yeah.
people, should almost expect like an artist will change their sound a lot in that time. So I think like I've really gone for more euphoric. So like in the past, like something like Swim and Formations was the happy songs on the album, whereas like kind of upbeat and dancey. But now the equivalent is like something a little bit more like soaring and euphoric, but it's still upbeat in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, and my favorite song from you is Swim. And not only because of the lyric, because I do practice swimming every day. So before I go into the pool, I just to listen that song to get the energy that I acquire. So, but also I could see that this song is more deeper than it appears. It's saying something like swimming in the life, swimming into situations. I mean, what can you tell us about that song?
In terms of the meaning, yeah, it was like a little bit ambiguous, but you know how we people use the metaphor of being underwater. Like so in your life when you might be underwater, some bad stuff might be happening and you need to get
Yeah.
out. So it was kind of like came from there. I think like the original word swim came very naturally. I just like sung it on the song, and so then the meaning kind of came from there.
Yeah.
And and it was I started to write the verses were about like somebody that I was like close with and working with a lot, but we were holding each other back. So it was like it's time for both of us to swim in our
Yeah.
own direction. And Yeah.
Yeah. And another track that I love from you is Formation, and it's a very wild lyric because it's like trying to leave someone, but you want to stay, you know. In this part that
Yeah.
I wish to say goodbye, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I love that the production of that song and the emotion, but the message was a little bit less personal. But everyone else sees a message, which is good.
Yeah, there's a lot of unconscious mind in every artist composition, and there is also a song that I like, Haunted, but more specifically, a remix that Banyan did, which is good because it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it sounds like a sort of healer sound, you know, like something that it's bad, but something that would be cool. I don't know how can I explain that. You know, how is working with him?
With Bayan.
Uh huh.
Well, it was actually a remix competition.
Okay.
So we got 300 remixes from that, and they were the one that won.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, now we know each other and we talk on Instagram and stuff. But yeah, it was like we just didn't. They actually just won the competition because it was the best
Okay.
remix, and I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I didn't know that he won a
Um.
pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And my last question is, what's going on in Australia? What could you tell us about Australian scene? You know, like what's going on there?
Say that. Say that again. It cut out.
Okay, yeah. My last question is, how is like the Australian scene? You know, on electronic and musician, bands. You know, another band that I know from Australia is Claw. It's a cousin duo. Do you know them?
But
I love them. I love
Hello.
them, and I don't know why in America most of people don't know about them. So, what can you tell us about Australian scene?
Um. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think like there's a bit of an underground dance music scene at the moment, which is like very trancey, you know, like throwing back to old trance music,
Okay.
like a guy called Swim and then Pretty Girl are like the biggest exports from that, which you see around.
Yeah.
And you know, and always like a lot of techno and yeah, just clubby stuff. And then other than that, I haven't really paid too much attention because I moved to LA now. So I just like to live in a bubble and just make my music because I already did the whole scene thing, you know, when I was younger with a different band.
Yeah.
And personally, like I find like being part of a scene really holds you back a bit because you want to fit in, you know.
Yeah.
So I like to do stuff without that. And I think overall, though, as you've probably seen, like Australia has, for the population size, like a lot of really good music, you know, and always has for like the last 20 years.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Benjamin, and hopefully you've been playing here in Mexico.
Yeah, actually, I'll add something about Chloe. I just realized I didn't hit me, but the yeah, I actually work with the producer in the band for this new album. Like quite a few.
Okay.
Yes, he did some assistant production and co-production on some
Yeah.
songs. So there is definitely that's where a bit more of the like lo-fi garagey kind of feel comes
Yeah.
in.
That makes
Yeah.
sense now. Virtue is a song that blew my mind, and I love that song. It's good.
Yeah.
Well,
And so yeah, you'll hear a little bit more of that, like not in Teardrops, not in Your Eyes, but on the rest of the album. Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for your time, and gracias.